zombies, infected, whatever you want to call them. They have been a part of video game media for a very long time. Each game has its own quirks, but one recently piqued my interest. Our beloved Arma 2 mod that turned into a standalone game by the name of DayZ. Roaming around Chernaris or Livonia, taking in the beautiful scenery, you can almost forget that you're in a devastating outbreak. That begs the question, how dangerous is the infection from DayZ? The easiest way to find out an answer would be this amazing infection danger meter. I know, very intuitive. To get a rating, it would be ideal to discuss the 5 most important points about the disease. That is, the origin, behavior of the infected, what variants or mutations it could cause to an infected host, strengths/weaknesses, and finally, a best approach against the infected. First up, let's discuss the origin of the infection. It's a prion disease, which is not a traditional virus. They are malformed proteins that cause other proteins to also malform. This causes the brain and body to deteriorate within a span of a week, in which the behavior of the infected person is hardly recognizable. They develop dementia, signs of difficulty with walking and speaking, constant fatigue, confusion, muscle stiffness, and finally, horrible hallucinations. The infection has devastated South Zagoria and Chernaris, the Nadbor region in Livonia, and possibly the rest of the world. It is a very easily transmittable disease, so my guess would be that this disease spread through contaminated food and other sources. The infection doesn't kill the host, they are very much alive, but more on that later. Humans not affected by the disease are known as the survivors, who make up only 2% of the whole population. Not to be mistaken, they are still very infected, yet don't show any symptoms. As mentioned before, the infection doesn't kill the host. They are alive, yet they lack the need for sleep. Their bodies can withstand harsh exposure to the elements, but non-lethal damage to the body could incapacitate them. For example, shooting them in the leg could stop them from running. Studying them further, we can see that they lack higher brain function. They can't open doors, pick up any objects, climb ladders, or follow you on top of cars. The infected can still see and hear, and will attack any survivors who have attracted their attention through noise, movement, or displaying bright lights at night. When passive and unstimulated, infected will roam around aimlessly. Once they are alerted to a survivor's presence, they will become aggressive and actively start chasing them. In this state, they make angry growls and shrieks as they advance towards the spot where they last saw or heard their prey until their target is either dead or lost. Once within range, they will attack in the form of frenzied attacks, where they will hit, kick, and scratch. They mostly inflict bruises, cuts that could cause bleeding, but sometimes they can break your bones, and when they're really going into town on you, they can make you fall unconscious. And for some reason, when that happens, they stop attacking you. Their strength lies in their damage over time, stamina, and tendency to attack at inconvenient times in large numbers. If you're enjoying the video so far, it would be pretty cool if you subscribed. The infection does not mutate the body of the infected, like we can see in Left 4 Dead. That is, jockeys, chargers, and tanks. All of the infected are pretty much the same. What matters is what background they had prior to becoming sick. If, for example, we take a civilian infected, it won't have as much health and won't do as much damage as to an infected that had a military background. The police, firefighter, and military jobs have made them stronger and more resilient to damage. Not to mention the gear that the infected could have on their body, like bulletproof vests and helmets that could protect them from injuries even more. Yet, after saying all this, there is one special infected who is pretty annoying. It's called the Screamer because, can you guess it? A. Dies when he spots you. B. Lets out a very loud shriek that alerts surrounding infected. Or C. Takes out a hidden pistol and starts shooting at you. Well, if you guess C, first of all, what the hell's wrong with you? And second of all, let's hope the devs don't add that type of infected in the game. The correct answer is surprisingly B.
Ding 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 ding! Good answer, Carl!
When it spots you, it lets out a very loud noise that alerts surrounding enemies in a 100-meter radius. This disease is basically deadly almost instantly if you're not immune to the symptoms. Remember, only 2% of people in the whole world are immune, so hope that you didn't use all that luck to win a lottery. It spreads very fast, and it only takes a week at most to become unrecognizable. The infected themselves pose a threat once they are grouped up, and attack at an inconvenient time. For example, when looting, fighting other people, or during the nighttime. They can see and hear all of their surroundings, so it is hard to sneak up on them. That's where their strengths pretty much end. Now time for their weaknesses. They can't access buildings because of their inability to turn a door handle. They can't follow you up a roof if it takes a ladder to get there. Climbing on top of a car can pretty much save your life. They are still somewhat human, so killing them only takes one shot to the dome. Their stamina will deplete after chasing a survivor for too long. After that, they will lose interest. If they knock you out unconscious, they will stop attacking you. You can distract them very easily, and finally, it is possible to outrun them if worst comes to worst. Knowing all of this, the best way to survive this disease if you are immune is to always be on the move, be quiet, and not carry very heavy weight. Go out during the daytime when everything is visible. Getting good with melee weapons is a welcome skill, and using firearms only as a last resort to not attract even more attention. If all else fails, just hide in a house, close all of the doors, and chill for a while. All that said, it's time to finally put the infection danger meter to the test. Bad news is, if you are not immune, this disease is lethal. You basically have no chance at surviving. You would probably turn in the first week of the outbreak. Now for the ones who are lucky enough to be a part of the 2%, they can rejoice in the fact that this outbreak is very much survivable. The only thing stopping you would probably be dumb decisions and other survivors who would really like to take all of your loot. The infected are pretty dumb, moderately strong, but pretty easily killed. So the rating will basically go dead on the center, no pun intended. What are you waiting for? Go out there, bash some infected skulls in. But remember, they're not dead. They are very much alive and have some sort of consciousness.